most loved and curious of children's. When artist Blackman read it for the first time, half a century ago, it so stirred his imagination that he created a suite of 46 paintings. The model for Blackman's Alice was his wife, Barbara, whose life was also getting curiouser and curiouser with the onset of blindness. Our report was produced by Marianne Latham.
Alice was beginning to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank. Having nothing to do, once or twice she had peeped into the book her sister was reading that had no pictures or conversations in it. And what is the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? And suddenly, a white rabbit with pink eyes ran close by her.
This year marks the 50th anniversary of Charles Blackman's Alice in Wonderland series, and we're delighted to be able to celebrate this landmark occasion by reuniting 43 of the 46 paintings in the series for the very first time.
The series is basically about change, it's about transformation, and of course the metaphor of the white rabbit being Charles and Barbara being Alice is quite wonderful as you go through the works.
I connected with talking books in the mid-50s, which were then platted discs on a gramophone, and that was how I got Alice in Wonderland, and he was absolutely struck by it, by the whole absurdity of it, the brilliant, beautiful, image-filled absurdity of the whole book.
Of course, Alice is always that wonderful person who opens the door and takes you with your mind wherever she goes. You could say its total surrealism is really more real than the life that you're actually living. But my pictures of Alice are really all about that surreality, not necessarily about the actual illustration of the story.
The first one started after hearing the recording, and that took about 3 months. And then the opening of the Nolan exhibition occurred, and the idea for the series formed in his mind. And he'd just heard the Alice talking book, and it corresponded with his life in the way that the Ned Kelly series corresponded with Nolan's life.
Charles used to read to me a lot, and he told me when we fell in love and married that he was going to be a great painter, but he hadn't done any pictures yet. So I said, well, you better get on with your pictures, and I'll go to work. And the only work I could do, really, as I was losing my sight, was to be an artist model. So he used to paint 16 hours a day, and I used to work at the art school, sometimes 6 days and 5 nights a week, and we got there.
So if you look at blindness as such, Barbara and I were married for, 27 years. I actually had to become her eyes and her explainer of the visual world, and she had to make sure I was guided in the direction of a painter who I was hell-bent on becoming.
We both wanted children, and we both had problems. I was told that blind women shouldn't have children. He was told that a child would interfere with his art. So we both, hand in hand, took the big leap into the unknown.
I think that that identification of Barbara's dilemma and Alice's was key to understanding, to making the paintings autobiographical. I mean, Alice fell into his lap, in a sense, and in the form of Barbara, who was at that time negotiating spaces in a similar way to Alice.
Well, here we are on an imaginary Sydney harbour with some of the people from my imagination. And I was brought up on Sydney harbour and sailed on it every day. And if you can dream about things from the water, it has a pacifying effect on you.
Public to see an artist working through a whole thought pattern, a whole moment of creativity, very special. And they're exuberant, but they also have a darker side to them, so they're quite intriguing.
I think it's become very popular because it is cohesive, and nearly everybody's heard of Alice in Wonderland, so I think it touches the imagination.
There have been other exhibitions that have included parts of the Alice series, but this is the first time since it was first painted that they've all been together. So it's been a marvellous discovery to get them back together.
It certainly touches the imagination.